I kept telling my castmates, like, I think people are going to hate Gabriel. I was so concerned.
Paris is the most exciting city in the world, and you never know what's going to happen next.
What can you tell us about Emily in Paris season 2? Do you guys have a filming date? Has Darren told you any season 2 secrets? Give us all the deets.
Netflix has to, confirm for season 2, which will probably happen at the end of the month or not. I don't know much. And even if I knew, I don't think I would be allowed to say. It all depends on how successful the show was. So hopefully it'll happen. Fingers crossed.
So you're staying in Paris?
Yes.
That season 1 cliffhanger is something that everyone is talking about. He's decided to stay, and now he's got 2 girls who clearly want to be with him. What was your reaction when you first read that was how season 1 was going to end?
The last episode wasn't written yet. All I knew is that Gabriel was supposed to leave for Normandy, so I was left in thinking that was it. It was living, and they wouldn't give me too much information. And I think they knew where they were going, but they wouldn't give me too much information. So at the end, he's not supposed to know, and they didn't want me to, act knowing that he was going to stay in the end. So I got the surprise when we actually went to the table read. Yeah, I remember sitting next to Lily, and she was like, "Oh, you're staying!" and flopping the shoulder, and I was like, "Oh God, yes!" And I think it's great. I think it's a lot of work for Darren and the writers, because that's a lot of drama coming up.
So you're single in Paris? I didn't know that you had a girlfriend.
And just based off of his interactions with Emily and with his girlfriend, who do you think is the better fit for him?
When Emily arrives in Gabriel's life, he's completely lost. He doesn't know. He wants to, access something. He knows his dream and he wants to make it on his own, but he doesn't know how to do it. And the constant pressure of Camille, he feels emasculated. And I think he's pretty lost when Emily arrives in his life. So with all the things that unravel, thanks to Emily, new job opportunity, that love, connection, he stopped feeling for a while, I guess. Stepping into his shoes, I would say, is really more excited, intoxicated by the promise of Emily than Camille. But then we planted so many seeds about Camille and Gabriel and Emily, so anything can happen at this point.
So I feel like Camille is a pretty intuitive woman. Do you think she knows that something was going on between her boyfriend and Emily?
Camille, the actress, was telling me a lot on set. We knew each other before this project, and we would have our own trailers, but she would come to mine and would just hang out together. She's like a sister to me, and she was always telling me, Camille knows, she knows. And so she played it this way. She played the entire season 1 knowing that she knew. And so, that text at the end, I think is meaningful.
French men are flirts. Just act normal when you see him.
But I'm not this person. I'm the girl who shows up, not the girl who makes bad decisions.
You don't come to Paris to be good.
I just want to commend you because I think you did such a fantastic job of walking that fine line between making Gabriel still really likable, but also he did technically cheat on his girlfriend with Emily. Do you think he considers that cheating?
Well, first of all, thank you. It's a great compliment, because when you read that part and you're like, okay, it's the boy next door, I need to find some nuances, and I need to also justify the fact that he's cheating on his girlfriend, and that's something I believe in. So I start from the place of love, and from that I'm like, what did influence that? What made him forget his principles and values? And I think here the question is, would you give up your values and principles over your happiness? Because for the first time, he's been miserable for a while, and when Emily arrives, he feels alive for the first time in a while. So I think he's just so lost that he's just following his happiness, and out of curiosity, he wants to see more about Emily, because she's the key to everything that unravels after that. So this is how I justified it from his perspective. I think he knows, but he's just intoxicated by this new vibration.
Normally, as soon as I see someone cheat on screen, I'm like, oh, I'm done. But I'm still so charmed by Gabrielle. You did such a great job that I'm just I'm not mad at it. I'm just confused.
I was, so concerned, and I was like, Darren, I think people are gonna hate me. It was like, no. And I kept telling my castmates, like, I think people are going to hate Gabriel. I was so concerned. And so that's why it's such a great compliment. And thank you for that.
This is Paris!
Emily in Paris has become the most talked about show, and everyone is calling you the internet's boyfriend. How are you feeling about such a broad title?
I try not to think about that. Obviously, my Gabriel is a character that, is the boy next door. So of course it's going to be objectified. Everybody means so well. It's benevolent and respectful, and I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. So I'm just very grateful about that.
How are your DMs? I can imagine that they're pretty full these days.
Yes, I turned off my notifications because my battery was lasting an hour and 30 minutes every day. It's very humbling, all this attention. I'll let you know in a couple of months once if I realize what's going on, how I feel.
What has it been like for you to receive those direct messages that are not so much thanking you, but asking you out?
I didn't get that many of those. It's been mostly very respectful messages talking about the nuances, the Gabriel performance, the show, and everything that the show brought to the people. And I didn't get crazy harassing anything like marry me or anything. And I was pretty, flattered and grateful about that, because that means that's not the energy that Gabriel is sending. Of course, he's supposed to be like the hot neighbor, but getting those respectful messages, having that image is honestly an accomplishment for me.
I love that they were all respectful, because lately I feel like actors have just been talking about the fact that fans are sliding into their DMs with those cheesy and lame pickup lines, which led me to think, in French, do you guys have go-to pickup lines?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person. I'm so bad at this. I tried Tinder, I think 6 years ago. I kept it for 24 hours. And when I matched with a couple people, I just, you send, hey, and then the person hays you back. And then, how are you? And the person sends you, how are you as well? And then nobody says anything because you don't know what to say. So I had maybe 5 or 6 conversations with, hey, how are you? And that's it. I don't have an answer for this. I'm really bad at this.
Obviously, you're still navigating these messages. You're navigating all this new attention. Has that changed the way that you're approaching future relationships, or if you're in a relationship right now?
I'm not in a relationship right now, but I don't think it changes anything. I have my really close friends, and we're all, I think, really down to earth, and I'm doing the job that I love. I'm lucky enough to, being able to live from it and to have such amazing experiences. I'm just pretty much the same person with a lot of messages.
Look, I want us to win together.
It's a little controversial. I like it.
There has been a bit of a mixture of reviews to Emily in Paris. A lot of the French critics they have a lot of thoughts. What are your thoughts as someone who is French and is now on this show that's kind of blending American and French culture?
I've been, on both sides. I lived in LA. I knew what my friends were thinking about Paris, and I've lived in Paris, and I know Paris is so huge. It's such a diverse city. We're one of the most diverse city in the world. We have so many different nationalities and ways of thinking and ideas and cultures and nationalities. And so you wouldn't have enough of one lifetime to explore every aspect of Paris. And so at some point you have to, if you want to tell a story about Paris, you have to choose an angle, choose a vision. And I think Darren just chose an angle that he knew, the one he experienced when he was a teenager, and he added his little signature of fashion and colors and love and romance. We have to keep that in mind. It's supposed to be a feel-good show. It's supposed to be, you take your mind off from this year we all had. And so when people in DM send me, thank you, I was able to escape from a really bad year, from a really bad day, and I want to go to Paris. And this is the best compliment, because this is exactly why we did that show. But, French people, we like to complain, and it's part of our charm. But I understand that some people need truth and reality, but it would be a documentary otherwise.
And maybe some things get lost in translation, but just know that I'm finding my way.